have 9 or 10 people coming over, and we're calling it the Squash Challenge. So we have a tremendous, humongous Hungarian squash that was given to us by a lady in Fitchburg who grew it. She was given the seeds by her neighbor's father, who's Hungarian, and he brought the seeds from Hungary. And this is the biggest one, and we're going to see how many different products we can make with it. And then we're also going to make lunch and make dinner, potluck style, all cooking together here, I mean, and it's going to be great. And so we're going to learn a lot about what you can do with squash. If you get the MACSAC cookbook, that's the Madison Area CSA Association, they have a cookbook called A to Z, asparagus to zucchini, and it's organized by vegetable. So if you go to winter squash, there's a lot of recipes there. No, I'm not hers. Well, I know Jen hasn't done hers yet. I know that. Oh, I'm going to say 65.
I mean, what's going out. We have a screen force between.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, I think that's pretty much the only spots I didn't get.
Okay, good.
Yeah, tip it more this way. Now scoot it forward more. You can do it.
Not as slippery as it was.
Push.
Let's try to balance it. Whoa, okay, so who wants to make their guesses?
72.
Do we have any late entries for the official weight of the squash? 85.
Wow. Who's said 80? You said 80? I said 80.
So if carving becomes difficult,
That's an excellent idea.
2 of us can just pick it up
Yes.
and drop
I
it.
think carving might be easier than picking it up.
Well,
Yeah.
It could crack.
yeah, kind of like
Beautiful.
opening a Parmesan wheel.
Nice.
Wow. Wow. Whew. If you're not perfectly straight, I've actually broken a knife.
Sure.
Oops. Oh, there we go.
Isn't this exciting? Wow, it smells so good. So good.
Oh, the rest of this has come apart real easy.
Oh, glorious.
Jesus, that's heavy.
Look at the size of it.
Oh, good. Why don't you put those on that table? Nice. This is on the top of it, was given to us by the Wisconsin Aluminum Foundry Company.
Wow.
Worth, I forget, over $300.
Or something?
It's somewhere.
Manitowoc?
I think
Oh, okay,
Manitowoc,
okay.
yeah.
Every, all
Yeah,
3
Manitowoc.
brands of pressure can are commercially available in the United States are made in Wisconsin.
Yay.
And this one
Presto's in Eau Claire.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
American.
All Americans, the one is in Manitowoc, right?
Right.
And then
That's sustainable.
the other one's in Sheboygan, right? I can't remember the
Yeah,
name of the
no,
third
it's a
brand,
real
but
All
common.
American
Yeah.
is the one that gave us.
yes, I think there's yeah. This one because pumpkin does soak
Break
up
down.
water, so I think that it wasn't boiled long enough, so then it sucked up all the water in the jar.
Sure.
That would make sense.
Because look at how nice the headspace is on that.
Yeah.
Like that's right.
That's right. Right.
And
It's
this
fully
is
covered.
still safe,
in
but
headspace.
won't win a ribbon at the county fair. So I think that we need to make sure that it parboils
Yeah.
fully. 1 to 1.5 pounds of squash fills a pint jar. And so we're looking for to fill 18 jars. So we need 18 to 27 pounds. So approximately a third of the pumpkin.
And I don't think we have enough large cubes here.
We have one.
Are these
two.
large?
One, yeah, that's good enough.
And this?
Some of these need to be. These are too.
Some of these need to be made bigger.
Well, I was thinking.
So I asked my friend Dora, who's going to be 100 this year. She lived in Germantown, and I asked her how her family made it through the Depression so well. And she said that they grew their own food. They didn't spend their time in food lines, that they spent their time in a garden. And it brought them peace and security and something to trade. And I just thought that was brilliant. And she's preserved enough food in both canning and freezing, even at 100, at age 100, to not be dependent on anybody or in any kind of crisis situation. She could probably go for a month, at least, and be very happy using what she has on hand. But she doesn't let a bread crust go to waste. I mean, she's really in an extreme situation, but what a role model.
Well, we're all here in comfort. I'll tell you what we're going to do, and then we can do it.
Okay.
So the process calls for boiling, parboiling the squash cubes for 2 minutes. We've got boiling water, or at least really hot water, and we're calling it good. So we'll put it in for a couple minutes, take it out. Then while it's the pumpkin's hot, we're going to pack it into the hot jars, which are in the sink. Clean. I just put them in hot water so that they're not cold. They need to be packed to within 1 inch headspace, and headspace is the space from here, so like that's, so it'll be about the bottom of this rim, a little bit lower. You can see there's sort of a seam on the jar. So we'll fill it up to there with squash, and then we'll ladle in some of the cooking liquid that we're using to fill it up also to that 1 inch line. Then we'll put a lid on, we'll wipe the rim off with a paper towel to make sure there's no food or anything stuck on there. And then we've got the hot lids hiding behind the pressure canner. We'll fish those out, set one each. We'll screw the band on just finger tight. And we'll be putting 9 jars on the bottom, putting another rack on top of them and 9 more jars. Then when it's full, we'll set the can up. To get the world's largest potato masher.
Okay. Skabushka, bushka. It still needs sugar and spices, and then it has to cook a bunch more.
And everything nices.
This is a very fine tool that Mike bought. What was the catalog you bought for? Oh, Layman's Catalog, which is a catalog for the Amish. They have all kinds of non-electrical kitchen implements.
feel really lucky knowing how to cook because I can usually do it better than what's ever being served to me. For years now, I haven't even gone out to dinner. I can't buy local and organic to the degree that I'm making it. It's just not available. And restaurants, they would put a price on it that most people aren't willing to pay because they're putting labor and overhead into it, and I don't have to. There's plenty of food out disguised, you know, in colorful packaging, and I know far too much about that to know that about 70% or so of that is, of what we pay for that is in the packaging, and I don't even eat that. And if I go to the farmer's market, the whole 100% of that dollar gets given to the farmer. But if we're going to ask him to package it and somebody else to label it, that's going to give me some of the cheapest food available. And I don't need packaging, I need food. And so if my dollars can go into nutrition and I can learn how to do that, I don't have to be at the hands of somebody else who's going to control my food.
That's not the point, is to get this away.
Where'd the meat go?
Like it literally fell off the bone.
What a squash challenge. I think we won the squash challenge. We made 10 different things. We pressure canned chunks of squash. We baked some, so it will be freezing it. We can use it in the future. We made a squash and spinach salad, a stir fry with peppers, onions, and squash, a pumpkin and wild rice soup, a pumpkin hummus. We say pumpkin squash, same thing. Sauteed squash with potatoes and onions, and a soup with corn, squash, potato, and celeriac. 2 squash custards, which is just like a pumpkin pie without a crust, and squash butter, which is like apple butter. It's just squash cooked down, and then you add sucanat or any kind of sugar you want, and then spices like pumpkin pie spices, and so that is good for spreading on bread or pancakes or whatever. So I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we had 2 wonderful meals. We also made rolls, biscuits, beet soup, and I learned from Mike how to cook a pot roast that is still frozen because you forgot to get it out of the freezer in time, because he brought his pressure cooker. So we learned how to pressure cook frozen meat. 85-pound squash. And I have to admit, we didn't finish cooking it all. So people are taking home some raw squash and they'll cook that up themselves one way or another. In terms of quarts, I don't know, maybe 4 gallons worth that was left. And how many people were here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people were here. Some came and went.
It was fun getting to make things and help out, but be able to talk to people, and at the same time it was fun and productive.
I was really struck when we were carving up 85 pounds of squash and peeling it and pulling it out, how fast that carving went. Because I have sat at home and taken all day and gotten a lot less done. And so many hands make light work, and there were plenty of opportunities to just sit down and chill out. And it's a good way to spend a day.
Talking about freezing food and how much space you have to leave at the top of different kinds of jars. It's definitely something. And, I mean, certainly I've never made any of these recipes before, so you know, it's good to learn.
The regular mouth has the shoulder, and it hits that shoulder and then explodes the jar. So you can freeze in a glass jar as long as it's straight up and down sides.
Oh.
There are a lot of different things you can make with squash.
It was a squash-orama, squash-palooza.
Take one of our classes. We have hands-on workshops. We're in cooking and in food preservation, so canning, pressure canning, freezing, drying, and we can develop new classes all the time. So we could even have a squash class, say. So, and there's also the UW Extension, and their website has so many recipes and so much advice and so on. But, I mean, there's lots of books out there, but you know how it is. It's nicer to do it with people, and it's nicer to be making friends while you're doing it. And so that's why we've done this, and we hope to do a lot more of these.